hostess, and this here may be tough to you. Snack cake to me, yeah, more hostess. This been overdue forever. Asked me when it was dropping, said never. Should've made you cut the feta, but I designed it Freemason Margiela.
What's goody, Shellitronnn here, the most spoke, no joke, and I'm back again with a brand new video, and I'm gonna keep it a bold, Berry Biscuit. This video might just be a very unpopular one. I'm gonna be going probably against the grain of what a lot of Panthers fans are thinking on this topic, and I've answered this question a couple of times, either in my DMs, in comments. People ask me this in the live streams so many times that I actually decided to do a video because I was not originally gonna do a video on this topic. The question is, should the Panthers try to go after safety Eric Berry in the offseason in this free agency period? And usually in these kind of videos, I like to lead up to the answer to the question, you know, giving the facts first. But I want to give my answer first and then explain it. The answer for me is honestly a hard no here. And not because Eric Berry is not a good safety, but there's a lot of other things going on with Eric Berry that make me think that this might be a bit too much of a risk. And if it's not too much of a risk, and even if it's not a huge risk, then it's a play that doesn't really need to be made. I know we're really in the market for a safety right now, a free safety specifically, but I don't think that we are this desperate right here to make this kind of move. His stats are right here, and you can see on the stats that he has had a pretty great career. I mean, there's no denying that Eric Berry has Hall of Fame level talent, Hall of Fame level skills, and in the years where he plays, he's obviously one of the top safeties in the game. But there are a few things you have to look at and take into account when you're picking up Eric Berry. Look, his first season in 2010, he had a great year. As a rookie, he was a Pro Bowl selection. He was a first-round pick. But a Pro Bowl selection, I mean, look at his stats. I'm not going to read his stats off. But his second year in the league, 2011, he suffers an ACL injury on the first game of the year, and he's out for the rest of the season. 2012, 2013, both are Pro Bowl years. 2014, he's first-team All-Pro. In 2014, he only played 6 games. That wasn't an injury. He was diagnosed with lymphoma, I think it was. So I won't count that as a injury, but I will have to count that as a season he did not finish. 2015 and 16, both Pro Bowl, first-team All-Pro years. You see the numbers there. Those are great numbers. Those are amazing numbers. 2017 and 2018, he played 1 game in 2017, got hurt the very first game. I think that was against the Patriots, where the Chiefs still did win. I think they blew out the Patriots that year. But in 2018, he only played 2 games. So off rip here, you can see that Eric Berry is an injury-prone player. No matter how you split it, an ACL injury in 2011, and then 2017, he has I think it was an Achilles injury. And in 2018, he missed 14 games, but that wasn't because of a new injury. He missed 14 games because of the same injury he suffered in the very first game of 2017, an Achilles injury. Achilles injuries are extremely hard to come back from. So what happened to Kobe? Kobe tried his best, but he was not the same after the Achilles. Did not have the same kind of burst, the same kind of speed, the same kind of explosiveness after he hurt his Achilles. And it happens to a lot of different guys. There's very few guys who come back from Achilles injuries. An injury that lingers like this for 2 full seasons, I don't care how good the guy is. I don't know how you convince a GM or an owner to take a risk in picking up a player who over the past 2 seasons has only played 3 games. And as a safety who's put up numbers, getting interceptions, passes defended, all of that. I mean, his Achilles is everything, right? His Achilles is a very important part of his game. I mean, there's not very many sports where the Achilles is not an important part of the game, but for defensive backs, where speed is an important part of their game, especially in the NFC South. If you're a DB in the NFC South, you have to have some kind of speed. You're going to have elite makeup speed because there are guys on every single team who will burn you. Doesn't matter how good you are, there are guys on every single team in the NFC South that are capable of burning you, and you'll have to catch up to those guys. And a guy coming off an Achilles injury from 2 years ago that's still hurting him, that kept him out of a full season last year, it's just kind of a hard sell for me. Like I said before, his numbers in the seasons where he's healthy are great. They're Hall of Fame numbers. And then for the past 2 seasons in a row, for him to be out with the same injury that happened on the very first week of 2017, that's a huge red flag. And I feel like a lot of the fans who want Eric Berry on the team either don't know about that injury or don't care at all. And that's something you definitely have to care about. And that brings about another issue that I've been seeing a lot in my comments and like people ask me things, is this whole obsession with name recognition. This is my first time being like really this plugged in to like Panthers fans, and like people ask me things, people like tell me things all the time. But I've been noticing a real big trend in the last like month or so where people ignore stats and context and want players only because of their name. It doesn't matter if there's other guys who are healthier, have had better seasons, and are on the upswing coming into their prime rather than being on the downswing coming out of their prime, both in production and age. It doesn't matter if those factors are present. I notice that a lot of fans only really care about name recognition There are fans talking about wanting Trey Boston. There are fans saying the team needs Eric Weddle. If you'd watched any of the Ravens games, if you talked to any Ravens fans, look at his stats. Come on now. Eric Weddle was not the move. I am not sure how he made the Pro Bowl last year. I've gone over this before. There's other guys in other positions that I've seen this happen with as well. I don't want to get all into that. But I've noticed that when it comes to player acquisition, a lot of fans would rather have a big name than actually have good talent and production come from a guy whose name they won't recognize immediately. And that's what I think is happening here with Eric Berry. The guy's been out for 2 straight years. And besides that, the team needs a free safety. Look at these stats right here. What do you notice here? Now the interceptions, now the passes defended, now the tackles. What else do you notice in this image? 2010, position strong safety. 2011, position strong safety. 2012, position strong safety. 2013, position strong safety. 2014, position cornerback strong safety. 2015, free safety, safety, strong safety. 2016, strong safety. 2017 and 18, safety. I'm not sure why it's lowercase. Why is it sometimes double uppercase, sometimes all lowercase? I'm actually not all that sure about that. That's kind of strange. Maybe it's because, maybe it's showing that they didn't play that many games in that position, and like, it shows the position they played in the most. I'm not sure how that's denoted there, but for the majority of his career, Eric Berry's played strong safety. And doesn't the team already have a strong safety on the team? Don't we already have Eric Reed? So it's kind of confusing to me, like, do fans want to move one of these guys out of position? Do they want to play Eric Berry at free safety? Or keep him at strong safety where he's more comfortable coming off of an injury? Like, when you come off an injury, you'd rather the guy play where he's most comfortable at. You know, he's going to have to learn new things and learn new motions. Because although they're both safeties, there are different motions and different reads and different responsibilities for a free safety and a strong safety. So if that's the case, that must mean that fans want to move Eric Reed from strong safety to free safety. And Eric Reed has played some free safety in his career, but he played so well at strong safety that I don't really know how I feel about just randomly moving him back over to free safety. And if I remember correctly, one of the biggest parts of the article that was on Panthers.com, when he got signed like, what, a month ago or something like that, one of the biggest parts of the article was talking about how his physical game was going to be a big part of the team's plans this year, playing in the box, tackling support, run support, that kind of stuff, maybe even some blitzing. The team loves his physical nature. You can't really do that as a free safety. So one of these guys' game is going to have to be adjusted kind of heavily for the other one. If we have Eric Berry and Eric Reed, that sounds cool. Like, this names alone, Eric Berry, Eric Reed, James Bradbury. We have Dante Jackson right there. Those names sound great. If we pick up Eric Berry, that opens up like the draft for us so much. We don't have to do so much in the draft. We have so many spots. We have so much depth in a lot of different places that we really don't have to pick up or double up in a lot of different places, but we have the opportunity to double up in maybe the O-line, D-line. The draft would be so much less stressful for us if we did pick up a player right now in the offseason. But how much is that worth when you're risking picking up a player who's been out for the last 2 years? Like 3 games in the last 2 seasons. Let's just call it what it is. Eric Berry hasn't played a game since 2016, and you want to give him a contract? And what kind of contract would it be? What kind of contract would you give a guy who's been out for 2 straight years, but has the potential to bust out and be a Pro Bowl, first-team All-Pro guy if he's healthy? Do you do a 1-year prove-it deal? And how much is it going to be for? Because, I mean, if you do a 1-year prove-it deal, you usually have to entice a player with more money to take that kind of deal, just because, you know, players want that long-term security. If they get re-injured, there's no, like, security for them for the future years, that kind of thing. Trey Boston just got a 1-year, $10 million contract. Eric Berry can definitely demand more than that. So let's just say that Eric Berry is able to demand a 1-year, $13 million. 1 year, maybe $14 million with like, what, $9 million guaranteed, 8 or 9 guaranteed. If he's healthy, he's going to hit all those incentives to get him up to like 14, 15 million. That's a lot of money for a 1-year rental on a player that if we like a lot, we're going to have to sign again in the next off season. But there's other kind of big expiring contracts coming up next season and in 2020. So just how much money do you want to actually give him if you're going to extend him after that? Or if you're going to give him a long-term contract now? The kind of risk that it would take to give a guy who's been out since 2016 a long-term contract it's kind of rough. That's a big risk, in my opinion. That's a really big risk. It's high risk, high reward, but it's a high risk you don't have to take when there's other guys available in free agency right now. George Iloka has not been signed yet. You can still go out in the draft and pick up a free safety in the 2nd round, maybe the 3rd round, and have really good production out of him. For me, this feels like a no-brainer, and that's why I originally wasn't even going to do a video on it. I mean, the man's been injured for the past 2 years. He's a strong safety. Then you have to figure out how much you're going to pay him, figure out how long that contract's going to be. And while you're doing all that, you have to completely ignore that there's other healthier safeties on the market, free safeties on the market who are talented and do pretty well in their position. Maybe not Eric Berry numbers, but you don't really need Eric Berry numbers. The team does not have to risk so much on Eric Berry just because his name is Eric Berry. Look, his stats speak for themselves when he's healthy, but can you guarantee that he will be healthy? And the last thing to take into account here is Marty Hurney's already been on fire coming back as a GM for the Panthers. He has been a great. I don't know where he got this magic from, but he learned his lesson from his first stint. He saw what Gettleman was doing. He learned from that as well and came back and said, I will not have a repeat of what I did before Gettleman or what Gettleman did after me. I will be a better GM. He's been on fire the past 2 years, and there was a time, Panthers fans forget this, but there was a time in Panthers history, way back. This is kind of back for the older Panthers fans. There was a guy who had a really good season, Pro Bowl kind of season, great production, got injured. People and teams were kind of unsure about him. Will he be able to repeat his Pro Bowl production? Will he have his skills back coming off of an injury? Can you trust this guy to be productive in the future? The team gave him a $55 million contract, 5 years, $55 million, and then ended up cutting him 2 years into that 5-year, $55 million contract. This is actually ancient history. This happened way before most of you guys were born. So I would understand if you don't know who I'm talking about here. But there was a time way back in the Panthers history where that move was made. And I feel like, and I'm not sure about this, there was a few Panthers fans who had a problem with it. Just a few Panthers fans who had a problem with that player and that contract after it turned out that it wasn't worth all that money. So, I mean, you have to think about it like that as well. Is the risk worth picking up a guy mainly because you recognize the name, looking at his history and ignoring what's happening right this second, what's happening right now? I understand why it happens, but you have to look past that sometimes and look at the context of it. It's not really the best move for the team right now, and there are other really good, very solid, even great moves to be made at free safety, which this guy is not, that I think it's not worth it. And I've been wrong before. I've been wrong several times about what's been going on with the Panthers during this offseason. So this might serve as foreshadowing, saying the Panthers are going to sign this man. I've been wrong so many times this offseason, but I don't think I'm wrong about this one. Even if we do sign Eric Berry, I don't think it'll be a smart move. If he proves me wrong, that's great. But this injury history, looking at how much freedom we have in the draft right now and how early we can pick up a free safety, I just think that getting a guy for 4 years on a rookie deal could have, the strong enough results for us that we wouldn't have needed to pick up Eric Berry on either a 1-year deal or a long-term deal and pray that he's 90 or 85% of what he was beforehand. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you still convinced the team should pick up Eric Berry? At what price? Is there actually a risk? Look up just how bad Achilles injuries are for professional athletes, and you tell me how likely it is that you think that Eric Berry will be at 100%, 90%. What percentage do you think he'd come back to this season, coming off of 2 seasons of being hurt off of the same injury? Let me know in the comments below. And you already know to do that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Being told y'all I been the man. Being told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.